Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Working Mum to Business Mum, helping working mums realise their dream of starting or growing their own business so that they can give up the day job to being more present in their families. All without the overwhelm and feeling like you need to work on your business every spare moment that you have. I'm Debbie Lucas, and in this episode, I'm switching lanes from working on our mindset to thinking about some of the practicalities of getting your business up and running. And this week, I'll be covering websites. I can almost hear the collective groan. If you're anything like me, working on your website will feel like a bit of a chore. But I've learnt a lot along the way, and today I'll share some of my insights with you. We also have another listener question from Julie. And Julie has asked whether it is worth investing in a website designer. Before I start off on the discussion, I would really appreciate it if you can help me by sharing, rating and reviewing my podcast, and even better if you can subscribe to it on your favourite podcast app. It will help others like you find the podcast and therefore help me to support even more people. I would also like to remind you of two very exciting opportunities that I announced last week. My online course, Journey to Your Dream Business, is now open for enrolment and will start on Monday, the 7th of March. And secondly, my very exciting new VIP membership, Journey to Your Dream Life, is open too. You'll find all the details on my website, coachingwithdebbie.com, and I'll add all the links to the show notes. Right, websites. Firstly, let's talk about whether we actually need a website or not. And as with most things in life, there's never a straightforward answer, I'm afraid. Whether or not you need a website very much depends on your business and your goals for your business. If you're wanting your business to be found through Google searches, then a website is pretty important. But if you're happy with running your business from a social media platform, then it's perhaps slightly less important. Facebook, etc. have made it very easy to sell your services and products from a business page. However, they've also made it a little more difficult for you to be found by your ideal customer or client, as they want you to spend money on ads to land in front of your prospective clients or customers. And of course, there's that small matter of the dreaded algorithm, meaning that you need to be constantly posting engaging content, which will mean your posts are shown to more people, but only to those who already follow you or have liked your page, so again doesn't help you to be found by new prospective customers. Many people will tell you that they have created a successful business online with no website, and that may be true. But there is an awful lot of energy and effort that needs to go into it to keep on top of algorithms and to keep your audience engaged. How people engage with content on social media is very fast-paced, and they need to be hooked over and over again to stay interested. So it's not always the easiest or cheapest option, particularly when it comes to your investment of time. In my opinion, people engage with a website slightly differently. Of course, your content needs to be fresh, up-to-date and engaging, but it will require less updating compared to the constant posting you need to do on social media. So for me, I would say that a website is actually important and worth investing in. Now this leads to two more questions for you to consider. Do you want a website that ranks on the first page of Google search? Because, let's face it, very few people ever go to page 2, much less to page 3, and probably no one ever goes to page 4 or beyond. Or, do you really want or need the page to host more information about your service or products so that you can signpost your audience to it through your social media? Let's look at each one in turn. If you're creating your website to be found on Google searches, there are a number of things to consider. Firstly, according to those in the know, different website hosting providers are better than others for SEO or search engine optimization, and I'll come back to that in a bit. So don't be caught up by the best free offer for a website hosting provider that you see out there. Yes, I know when you're starting out, the temptation is to save money and go for the free option. But you need to consider the longer-term implications of growing your business and investing more in your website, because although migrating your website over to a new platform is possible, it's a bit of a pain that you don't really want later on. A quick Google search on which website hosting provider is best for SEO will give you some good information to allow you to make a more informed choice about what is right for you and your business, both now and in the future. Okay, so coming back to SEO or search engine optimization. Search engines, of which Google is obviously the most well known, uses artificial intelligence, or bots as they're known, to scan websites across the internet, checking their information and gathering information about them to make sure that the websites it returns in a search result is the best and most appropriate information for the user. Now, the topic of SEO is so big that I couldn't possibly do it justice in this short episode. Gosh, there are actually entire podcasts dedicated to it, as well as websites, so there's plenty of information out there. But there are some important things to consider to improve your ranking in search engines. You need to have specific keywords or phrases that you consistently use on your website. These are words or phrases that your ideal customer or client would type into a search engine. Ensuring that you have regular, new or updated content on your website is something that the bots like and will look for as well. The easiest way to do this is to post a weekly blog. Search engines also consider a website's bounce rate, which means how long a user stays on your website if they click through the link in the search results before moving away from it. So you need to be sure that your homepage or landing page catches their attention in the first 2 sentences and entices them to read more, and even better, click through to a link for another page on your website. These are just a few things to consider, and remember, it takes time to build up your SEO, but it's far more than just having the right words. You need to ensure that your visitors to your webpage stay engaged. I had a really good chat with Jenny Fred, copywriter, on Instagram a few weeks ago. She shares a lot about how to build a great website, so do go check it out on my Instagram for more info on this. In that discussion, Jenny likens a website to having a business card back in the day. Now, I can totally appreciate that all of this sounds like a lot of work, and when you're starting out your business, it may feel like an additional task that's just too much for you. So you may decide that you want to focus on building a social media profile and presence first, with just a simple website to back it up with. And there's nothing wrong with that. Having a website that you can signpost people to, if you're less concerned about being found on search engines, can be a good thing too. As I said before, it may be tempting to go with a free version when you're starting out and want to save money, but there are a few things to consider with this. Most free options will not allow you to have your own dedicated website URL. They will always have their own extension on the end. For example, yourwebsitename.freehost.com as opposed to just yourwebsitename.com. Now, this may not bother you, but it could be perceived as a little unprofessional depending on who your ideal client or customer is. You may also be limited to the amount of customization you can do on your website, so your branding may not be as strong as it could be or you want it to be. A free option may also limit you to the number of pages, images and videos, etc. that you can have, and also the e-commerce options if you are selling products. And some may even also limit the number of visitors you can have to your page each month, so you need to bear that in mind. There is also a strong likelihood that the web host will display adverts on your pages, which may be a little off-putting to your customers. Free options may also limit your download speeds, which although might not be massively different to a paid option, but it's not considered favourable by search engine bots and also the user these days who's used to websites loading instantly. And side note, who remembers sitting for ages waiting on websites loading line by line on dial-up internet? Oh, how things have changed. Now, I'm not saying don't use a free website option, but at least you have some points to consider. And some web host providers do have some pretty decent basic options for a very low monthly cost. So perhaps you would be able to start with the basic package, one up from a free version, and then upgrade to include more features as your business grows. What I would say is, regardless of what option you go for, still work on your SEO from the beginning, because as your business grows, you want to ensure that all your information and pages are already optimized so that you don't need to go through them all and update your keywords and phrases. Trust me, I'm talking from experience because that's exactly what I'm having to do right now, because I didn't fully understand the whole SEO concept when I first started. There is so much more that I can cover on websites, and I have a lot of more information and tips in my new online course, Journey to Your Dream Business, and I will also have guest experts to cover this and many other topics in my new VIP membership, Journey to Your Dream Life, and you can find all the details and links to this in the show notes. Okay, Julie, coming to your question about whether it's worth investing in a website designer. Based on what I've just discussed, you can see how time-consuming it can be to build and design a website that not only ranks high in internet searches, but also grips the user when they do visit. If you're okay to take your time to work on it yourself, and know that it's unlikely for you to have success ranking on the first page right away, then doing it yourself is absolutely fine. However, if it's important for you and your business to be found quickly through search engines, driving a lot of traffic to it, then investing in a web designer and or copywriter may be a good investment for you and your business. I hope that answers your question, Julie. To end with a quote from Amit Kalantri, "A website is a window through which your business says hello to the world." As always, you can find me on all the usual social media channels and in my Facebook group, Working Mum to Business Mum, and of course on my website coachingwithdebbie.com, where you'll find a link to sign up to my weekly newsletter, as well as a link to my new online course, Journey to Your Dream Business, and my VIP membership, Journey to Your Dream Life. Having a website is really considered essential these days. In the age where people tend to engage with businesses online, a website is like a traditional business card, to paraphrase what Jenny said. People will want to know more information about you before they contact you, and a website is a great way to give this to them. Join me for episode 15, which is my very first book club episode. And for this episode, we have been reading Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. Brian shares some really helpful tips for being more productive, with the ultimate goal of being successful in your career or business. I will be sharing my insights as well as those of you who have contributed to the discussion. As we all know, time is one of our biggest pain points when it comes to starting or growing our business while working, so you won't want to miss this one. If you like this podcast, it would really help me a lot if you can share it, rate and review it, and if you don't want to miss the next episode, then hit that subscribe button. Until then, wishing you all the best.